We have a major free agency update alert for one of our star players. As we know, free agency is well underway in Major League Baseball. We have an idea of which teams are actually interested in one of the star players for the Dodgers. Also, we get an idea of how long Dave Roberts is going to stay with the Dodgers after winning the World Series. Hey, this is Mike Nelson of Dodgers Digest. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank the almost 7% of you, the ones that are watching these videos who have already hit the sub button, but 92% of you have not jumped on the program yet. You know, myself and Brad J, we're bringing you everyday Dodger content. You know, we got over 4,000 of you now subscribed. I want to thank everybody for their support. Of course, we're all Dodger fans celebrating this World Series championship, but we have a lot to talk about as we get into 2025. Let's get into it. Of course, Teoscar Hernandez, we have an update on which teams are interested in him, and that is the Red Sox and Orioles. The Boston Red Sox and Baltimore Orioles are interested in Teoscar Hernandez. This is, of course, the latest from John Morosi. This was just posted a couple hours ago. Teoscar Hernandez is drawing interest from the Red Sox and Orioles in free agency. Sources say other clubs are involved too. Baltimore and Boston have similar needs for right-handed power. Well, this is not a surprise. Everybody's going to want Teoscar Hernandez after the kind of season that he had for the Dodgers in 2024. I mean, this was a historic year for him personally, right? Before this year, a lot of people did not really know about Teoscar Hernandez, myself included. Of course, I knew the name. I had seen him probably in the playoffs with Toronto, but I didn't really follow the player. And then when he came here, it was, our eyes were wide open. I mean, this player turned out to be an exceptional asset to the Dodgers right away from day one. Right from the beginning. And it really showed throughout the year, especially when the Dodgers were going through a bit of slumps during the season. This was a struggle for the Dodgers this year. This was one of the most difficult years for the Dodgers on record, despite winning the World Series. It's kind of strange to say that because the Dodgers struggled a lot to really succeed, to really, make it this year, right? Because in years past, as we know, the Dodgers kind of cruised into the playoffs. They were, expected to win the NL West when the season started, and in some seasons, they were winning the NL West by August, September. This year, the Dodgers had to kind of fight to the end. It came down to the last week, San Diego and the Dodgers. It was a struggle with all the injuries mainly because without the injuries, I think the Dodgers run away with the division and probably run away with the World Series without any issues. But Teoscar Hernandez was that kind of player that stepped in and really, helped out, right? Helped out when things were not going the best. And I think that's why you have teams like Boston and Baltimore interested, and also another team. Fox Sports, Rowan Kavner, and CBS Sports, RJ Anderson. If they had to guess, they'd probably both say it's strongly possible that the Braves are involved as well. Both writers named the Braves as potential landing spots for Hernandez. So we even have now the Atlanta Braves. As we know, the Braves are a young team, always looking to add stars to their team. And players, do go down there to Georgia to play because they see the potential of that kind of destination, right? And that's kind of where Baltimore is at too. Baltimore, as we know, has a lot of young players. They Gunnar Henderson, as we know, one of the baseball's best young talents. And that's how you try to gain stars like this. Teoscar Hernandez is a solidified Major League Baseball star. He's a solidified star that deserves a big payday this offseason. Now, what do you think? Should the Dodgers go out and spend, as much as they have to spend to keep Teoscar on this team? I think they should. I think they really should go out and spend the money. You don't want him ending up on the Braves, a team that the Dodgers could potentially play in the playoffs. You don't want that happening. And, Baltimore and Boston are in the American League. You're not going to play them in the playoffs, potentially a World Series, but still, you don't want those you don't want your star players ending up on contending teams, and that's what Teoscar Hernandez could potentially end up. That could happen if he decides to exit the Dodgers. The Dodgers don't give him what he wants in free agency, Or as I talked about yesterday, the Juan Soto situation is starting to brew even more. I think the Dodgers are potentially looking at that as a possible opportunity to get Juan Soto, right? To get him from the Yankees. And the question is, are the Dodgers going to be able to sign both of them? Mookie Betts moving to the infield kind of opens stuff up in the outfield, right? Because you can have Teoscar and Juan Soto in the outfield. So it definitely opens up the opportunities to do that. But got to keep Teoscar. They can't let him walk. They just won the World Series. Yes, there's interest. That's going to bring the price up. But we're the Dodgers, right? We are the Dodgers. We got the money to spend. The bank is unlimited. These guys have more than enough cash to spend. There is no limit to how much money the Dodgers can spend. So, they just got to, of course, pay higher luxury tax. That's all they're going to do. But there is no rules that prevent the Dodgers from outspending everybody in Major League Baseball. And that's what the Dodgers are going to have to be prepared to do if they're going to want to keep this World Series team kind of intact, right? Because that's what they're trying to do. They want to keep this team intact to try to repeat as World Series champions next year. Now, let's get to the next point. Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts, the much maligned manager for the Dodgers. Well, the Dodgers want to finalize a long-term contract extension with Dave Roberts, says GM Brandon Gomes. Of course, Bob Nightingale, I believe, reported also the Dodgers looking at a 5-year extension for Dave Roberts, and is more than well-deserved. Dave Roberts has been the most criticized manager in baseball history, at least in modern baseball history. I can't remember a manager that has received more criticism from its own fans, from Dodger fans, and from, of course, MLB baseball experts alike, myself included. I have criticized Dave Roberts to the end. But this year, Dave Roberts kind of shut us all up, right? Because the Dodgers won the World Series. He was able to manage his team to the World Series and win it. Win the 4 games required in the World Series to win. Dave Roberts has managed the Dodgers to 4 World Series. He's won 2 of them, but did lose the first 2 because both of those teams, of course, as we know, were cheating. The Astros were cheating, and also the Boston Red Sox, as we know, were cheating as well. So we lost to a couple cheating teams, and the Dodgers got stolen from 2 championships. The Dodgers probably would have won in 17 and 18 if it weren't for the Houston Astros, right? I mean, that's the truth. They would have won in 17 for sure. Houston was a much inferior team to the Dodgers that year. Now, Dave Roberts deserves him to stay a long time. What do you guys think? Comment below. Should Dave Roberts get a 5-year, 6-year extension? Give him all the money he wants? I think you have to. Just won the World Series. Can't let him leave. And the Dodgers are going to do that. They're going to sign him. They're going to lock him up. He's already come out and said he wants to stay here. So I think it's a win-win. It's a mutual interest on both sides. This will get done probably soon. But we will be covering that when it happens right here on Dodgers Digest. You don't want to miss out. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. And as always, let's go Dodgers. Woo!